So, I wanted to bring you this thing directly from Buckingham Palace, and believe it or not, they stopped me. So they said that there's no broadcasting without the approval of the royal family, but that's okay. So I'm bringing this to you at 4:30 in the morning, your time. So if it's too early in the morning, it's because I'm in London. So that's going to happen every now and then. What I wanted to cover really is the the beginning of the blog from a point of view of Palace's long-term real estate and what are the funny things that you think about it. When I say funny, I mean when you're international, you're overseas, even if you're at your computer just looking at property that's in Paris, in Spain, in England, or at the early stages, really just considering, just thinking about it. What silly things cross your mind? Well, the first thing is that you always think, hey, if I can do something once and then only show up in the winter or in a warmer climate area, decide that you're going to only show up during summer. If you think you can get a tenant there to stay at the time that you want to stay there, it's not going to be very, very, very favourable. I think if you've picked something according to the destination that's really a culture fit, that you want to go to Florida in spring break, or you want to go skiing in Whistler, Canada, but you want to do that during winter, then the off-peak season is always going to be the thing that eats you alive, especially places that are well known for that sport. So if you go to Whistler, Canada, and you realise that in Whistler, Canada, everybody is thinking the same thing as you, they're all considering that at that time of the year is the best time of the year to go, you're always going to get the same response. You're always going to get the off-peak season, there's season where people don't want to go unless it's school holidays. So even in spring or summer or autumn, they'll still go to Whistler during the off-peak seasons, but only for an occasion where they're bringing the kids where it's school holidays. Um, so you'll have a lot of what's called feast and famine. Are you okay with that? Do you like feast and famine? Some people are. Some people live for the roller coaster. I remember seeing a cartoon that described the stock market once, and it was talking about the Australian pension fund, the superannuation fund. When the superannuation fund was going up and down, and people's savings that they've spent 30 to 40 years accumulating were nosediving, were taking a dramatic hit. The cartoon was showing a depiction of an old lady, potentially in her late 80s, riding a roller coaster, screaming out "woohoo!" because it's the excitement that when you're not dependent on the money, when you're not living dollar for dollar, when you're not living week to week on your income, then to have the $15 million in your bank account or $12 million in your bank account, yes, it's a loss of $3 million, but it's a paper loss. You can't eat it. Once you get over your survivability, once you've accumulated enough to not be the day-to-day survivor, then sometimes it's a roller coaster ride. But you know what? The cost of living today is not the case. Now, in 2025, there are people that are just struggling just to survive, just to choose what food they are taking off the supermarkets. And I'm here in central London, and literally yesterday, while I was in the supermarket picking up some oranges and blueberries, because the standard food that you get doesn't include exotic fruits like that. You tend to get the tomatoes, lettuce,
Right.
everywhere. So the supermarket.
Yes.
But literally, the lady in front of me in the queue had to return some of the packets of chips and some of the soft drinks. Sorry, walking by. Some of the soft drinks that are like that were completely off the table. As in, like all the rest of the shopping necessities were okay, but to add those extra bits that are the
Okay.
the extra things in your plate was a financial decision. It's like, well, let's keep the shopping below £30. And so the packet of chips went back and the 6 cans of Coke or Pepsi or whatever it was went back as well. So that's where we're at the moment. What does that mean in terms of property? So remember we were talking about the exotic properties that you're thinking about, where you want to go to Saudi Arabia, you want to invest in Dubai, you want to invest in a resort in the south of France. Beautiful area. But does it have legs in the long term? Okay, so let's talk about it from 2 points of view. The first point of view is it a rare amount? Is it an asset that over time disappears? Because if something is worth a certain amount because the asset is slowly disappearing, like the icebergs are melting, there's value in it. If God forbid, the water is rising, the sea levels are rising, then that island that you're buying could disappear. And so if you're building 2 meters above sea level, hey, maybe, but is it really a depreciating asset? Is it really something that's valued because it's rare? Or is it exclusive because somebody told you so? Is it? So let's talk mountains. And obviously, if you've got a mountain top, then you're not going to be replaced by another mountain top. Whereas if you're looking at something that is a go-to area, Ibiza, then yes, it's a fashion thing. But politically, in 10 years' time, we don't know the type of area that'll be the new hotspot. So you have to compare apples to apples. So it brings me back to Australian property. Why do I love Australia? There's a level where people are willing to drive the extra mile to go to work. So when you buy a house, you generally live somewhere that's reasonably close to the office. If you're working hybrid, so 1 day in the office, 4 days online, or 1 day online, 4 days in the office, you're still going to do some commute, some driving. If you're 100% online, you're still dependent on being close to a capital city, mostly for internet and groceries, unless your whole show, your whole tribe, your whole product and service is all about going back to nature and foraging and hunting for your food.
Yes, they are.
And
Yes.
let's face facts.
Yeah,
it's
and
only
that's
1%.
yeah. I've got to be back because Mary's got to be able
Most
to
of the products and services out there rely on people to people.
because she's got
So
to
that
get to
means you're
bed.
still going to be close to an area that has people in it. So when you're shopping for real estate,
Yeah.
when you're really thinking property and you're thinking the smart way,
And probably the
then
dog as well.
Australia has a coastline on the east coast and a coastline on the west coast, where there's really 10 big cities that are the geocities, that are the worthwhile investments. Once you get too far from those, you lose a lot. The prices depreciate. Once it takes you more than 1 hour to drive to your work, then people would consider just working in the other direction. So if you're 1 hour from your job, but you're 20 minutes away from a different city, people find a job in the other city. And so it really changes things.
Tomorrow we're going.
That's the thing with having a coastline that can't be replaced.
Unlike
United Arab Emirates, unlike some of the Middle Eastern areas where islands are built because, hey, you can, Australia is never going to build more land to sea. So if you're facing the east coast, if you're Coogee Beach, Manly Beach, or Bondi Beach, if you're close to the beach, that's always going to be an exclusive area.
Yeah.
If you're an hour away from the beach, it's not worth as much as being 10 minutes away from the beach. And if you can walk to the beach, that's even better. So a 10-minute walk is still considered comfortable. And if you're going further than that, then it's excessive. So really, when you're looking at Buckingham Palace and you're looking at Windsor Castle, people go for 40 minutes to get to Windsor Castle. But is the home you're buying really at that same kind of level? Or are you just dreaming? You're just hoping? You haven't really worked out the value and you haven't worked out the exclusivity. So I'll leave you with that. And I hope that you make the right choice in property. And if you need help, of course, within Australia or Brisbane, Gold Coast, Sunshine Coast, Sydney, Newcastle, Wollongong or Melbourne, let me know. We're here to help. I'd love to answer any questions you might have. Catch you on the flip side. See you soon.